Hey everyone, it's been a while. I'm sorry. I needed a break because I did several Christmas minis, but I'm back. So I just did my typical random rolling. I've got 3 minis plus a bonus mini. You'll see later. The first one I got a random item of clothing, which was a gown, and a random insect, which is a great black wasp. And for the class, I got a warlock. I decided to do a tiefling. I kind of wanted like a royal looking character who is maybe very sharp looking, so lots of sharp edges, a sharp nose, a pointed tail. I'm not going to be making a wasp, I'm going to have her represent the wasp. And I wanted to do a more dynamic pose to really show off her gown and skirts that I'm going to be layering like crazy. Remember, it's always important to pose your character first before you put a skirt on them, because the second you adjust that pose, everything is going to be messed up. And then I made this cape to represent wings. And I'm going to do some fancy chain kitbashing, my favorite. Again, if you want to get something super, super small, you attach it to something that can be shrunk even more, like a ring, and then hide the ring. That's how I got these chains to be so tiny and detailed. I don't know why, but the shoes were not accepting the fact that her toes had been curled and it was scrunching up at the tip, so my options were a little limited. And then I thought about giving her some actual wings, but it felt a little excessive and I wanted to focus more on her outfit than draw attention away from it. Again, giving her another very sharp sword to represent a stinger. And then she's going to be shooting some sort of poison from her fingers. I'm saying this is part of her warlock ability. Again, giving that venomous sort of motif with a wasp. I like the idea of her being some sort of royal who's being called into battle. Maybe she's a known hero fighter in this sort of sense, or perhaps she's a little bit of a vigilante. I like this lantern detail in her hair. I really do want to do a character where they have lanterns all in their hair, but this was a test to see how that would look. And then the honeycomb, of course. And the wasp, while it's overall black, it has a cool metallic shimmer to its wings, so I wanted to incorporate that into her gown. I'm picturing her now being in some sort of catacomb. Then I splashed her in the ground with this green spray that perhaps is from killing a slime or some other green-blooded creature, just to give a little bit more story of who she might be fighting. And there she is, Warlock, great black wasp in her gown. Really a badass character. I really like her. She's not overly flashy, but there's still a lot of nice details. Alright, next up we've got random weather, which was cloudy and windy. I need to find a better generator for that. And then a random monster, and I got Medusa. They're going to be a sorcerer. So this one came to me pretty quick. I wanted to do a sorcerer who has storm or wind-related powers. And they are going to have the snake hair. I'm trying to experiment more with face types and having a variety of models. Kind of doing like a Statue of Liberty thing. I love the snake hair, it's such a cool piece. And then I'm going to give her a flowing skirt to show movement and the wind swirling around her. Again, doing some skirt layering so I get a more unique piece. She's very regal and divine, which is fun because I feel like I don't really do characters like that. They're typically a bit more scrappy. I love the socks. I need to make a character with socks. That's been a great addition. And then we've got these sword swipes that I'm using to represent the wind swirling around her. adding some fun decor to her snake hair. And then I'm putting her on this orb to represent a cloud. So she will be up in the sky. And then I did these crackles up the side of her body. I wasn't sure what colors to use, so I decided to get inspiration from a golden tree snake and then use that same color theme throughout her entire outfit and then mess around with the shading a little bit. I feel like wind and storms are usually associated with blues and yellows and whites, so it was fun to give her this black and lime green theme. Does she look more like a hero or villain? It's up to you. The Medusa Sorcerer controlling a very windy day. For this next one, I was really proud of it. I tried a technique that I've never done before, which I'll show you. But after it was done, it was sort of pointed out to me how phallic and suggestive the model looks. So I'm just gonna briefly show it to you, just so you can see the technique I used, and then you can decide if it is indeed a little, yeah. The prompts were a rapier, lower leg, and a wizard. So right away I was like, oh, I want to make this wizard who is conjuring their lower leg that it happens to be a sword. So I wanted to make a very cocky, pun not intended, character who's draped across this huge treasure chest he found. And then for the magical lower leg effect, I traced a rapier with leopard tails and then removed the rapier, so I was just left with this outline. Yeah, here's the result. I can see it, but also it's really cool. I don't know. You let me know in the comments. Alright, so I made a new one. I got a pseudo-dragon, bells, a toe, and a ranger. So the pseudo-dragon, I believe they're supposed to be smaller dragons. Either way, I just decided to make a dragon, which I've never done before, so that was the challenge in this one. I'm gonna have a dwarf main character. I don't feel like I do a lot of dwarfs. Not a lot of dwarf representation. And toe, immediately my brain went to the dragon will be biting his toe, so that's what I'm gonna do. This one's gonna be a lot of interesting maneuvering of several minis to make it work. So I'm doing the Velociraptor base, giving it dragon wings, but I didn't like the head, so I imported a dragonborn, and then I shrunk its body down, and I'm just going to use its head. And anytime that I adjust the size or position of the Velociraptor, the head is not going to come with it. I'm going to have to just constantly readjust. And because the Velociraptor is brought in as a mount, anytime I move the Velociraptor, the hero will move with it, it'll shrink with it, and I can regrow the I can enlarge is the word, the hero separately, but any adjustments I make will throw everything off. So there's a lot of back and forth. My cat gave me some inspiration for this, because he likes to attack my feet. I don't know if this dragon is this guy's pet or if he's a creature that he's beefing with. It could be sort of a love-hate relationship. And the main hero is going to be the one carrying the bell. Perhaps he goes around the town waking people up or spreading news. He's just going to be covered in bells. I'm imagining it more as a cultural, maybe religious practice to have a bell ringer. And he's an old man, so he's been doing it for a while, which means maybe he's had decades-long scraps with this dragon. I really like how this dragon is looking. I would love a cat-sized dragon. I'm just adding some more bells as decoration. Perhaps he carries a staff because this has happened so much that he now has a limp? Maybe? And then I like the idea that he's been a bell ringer for several years, and by doing so, perhaps the bell is magical. His hand is slowly going to turn the color of the bell. So later I'm going to give him a metallic coloring on his arm. Also, when you are coloring 3 different models, creatures, the colors that you use on those creatures, it's not all under the mix tab. For each model, it'll be under a different mix tab, if that makes sense. So you will not be able to access all the colors in one spot. So just keep that in mind of when you're coloring each model. I don't think I'm explaining that right at all, but if you've colored anything on Hero Forge with more than one model, you'll know. I love the coloring on the dragon. I wanted to do sort of like a peridot, and then I dusted it a little bit to get it more of a leathery look, and I think it turned out perfectly, and it is a beautiful, beautiful dragon. I actually have a little dragon on my desk that looks very similar to this. Maybe he inspired me, I don't know. There you go, the ranger with his pseudo-dragon archenemy and his bell. Thanks so much for watching. Tell me what your favorite model was. Tell me if I'm crazy about the bonus model. And yeah, comment what you want to see next. I could use some inspiration. Thank you again for your support.